Hello Raiders and welcome back. In this video we're going to break down the fourth encounter in the Salvation's Edge raid, the encounter called Verity. And I know I skipped a couple of encounters, but this seems to be the encounter that confuses people the most, and I've seen some really confusing guides on it myself. And I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I kind of loved this encounter and it seemed super simple to me once I figured out what was going on. So I figured I'd walk you all through it in a way that really simplifies things the way it simplified it for me. So let's get cranking. And if you find this helpful, let me know by leaving a like in the video and consider subscribing for more guides and content. Let's get moving. I'm going to break this encounter down by explaining the outside team first and then the inside team. Sound good? The encounter starts when you interact with one of the statues at the far end of the room. There are only 3 on this end of the room, while there are 6 at the entrance of the room, 1 for each member of your team. When the encounter starts, 3 players on your team will be transported seamlessly into a mirror image, basically, of the same room. So 3 of you will stay in the original room, and then 3 of you will be sent to your own private rooms with no one else in them but you. When the 3 who get removed find themselves in their own rooms, these 3 people we'll call them the inside team. They will see the same 3 statues in their room, 1 for each of them, and the outside team will see these exact same statues in the exact same order as well. So they'll be standing in the same order, but all the inside players will see 3 shapes being held by the statues in the same order from left to right. So here, for example, I get sucked in, and I see 3 statues. The one on the left has a square, the one in the middle has a triangle, and the statue of me on the far right has a circle. So immediately I read these shapes off from left to right to the outside team. And my other 2 teammates who also got sent to their own rooms, they see the exact same shapes in the exact same order. So it doesn't matter who on the inside team makes that call out as long as the call out is made. And here we'll put the inside team on pause and we'll break down what the outside team has to do. The outside team has a simple job. Honestly, it is simple. I know it seems super complicated. It's not. They need to make sure that the statues are holding 2 shapes each, specifically the 2 shapes that the same statue does not have on the inside. So in this example that I just showed you, the left statue was holding a square on the inside. So that means the outside team needs to give that statue a triangle and a circle, the other 2 shapes that it does not have. Boom! It's that simple. The middle statue was holding a triangle, so the outside team needs to give the middle statue in their room a circle and a square. And the last statue was holding a circle, so they need to give the third statue a square and a triangle. It really is that simple. There are 2 things that confuse people though. The first is the process of swapping the symbols from statue to statue. And the second thing that confuses people is that the statue doesn't display the 2 shapes it's holding. Instead, it fuses the 2 shapes it's holding together. So if the statue was holding 2 circles, it would show you, instead of 2 circles, a sphere. 2 triangles, it shows a D4. 2 squares, it shows a cube. Easy enough. But when we mix and match shapes, here's what we get. A circle and a triangle will show a cone, right? Circle base, triangle tip. A circle and a square will show you a cylinder. And a triangle and a square will show you an elongated triangular prism. Got it? So if you see a statue holding a cylinder, you know that's a circle and a square. Okay? We on the same page? The other confusing part is the moving shapes around part. Here's what really helped me. I started thinking of it as subtraction. So if I had a cylinder, but I needed a shape that doesn't have a circle in it, then I would want to subtract the circle from the cylinder. I do that by killing the knights who carry the shapes. I pick up the circle, and then I walk over to the cylinder, the statue holding the cylinder. I put the circle into it. This tells the statue that I want to subtract its circle from it. But I won't lose it just yet. The next thing I need to do is I need to tell another statue that I want to subtract something from it. So I would go to another statue, I'd put a triangle in that one. This would tell the second statue, hey, I want to remove your triangle. When I've selected my 2 subtractions, those 2 things will then switch places from one to the other. So the initial cylinder will lose its circle. It will gain a triangle. So now it's a triangle and a square, so it shows the prism shape. Does that make sense? I think the best way to explain this would just be to show you an example from one of our runs. So in this clear, I stayed outside while 3 of my teammates went inside. They called out to me the order of the shapes that they see from left to right on their statues. So they called out circle, square, triangle. So that tells me I need to make sure the first statue has a triangle and a square, because the call was circle. It needs the other 2. A triangle and a square is a prism, as we just established. The middle statue needs a circle and a triangle, and the third statue needs a square and a circle, which makes a cylinder. Now on the outside, I look at the statues, and here's what I see. I know what they need, but what do they already have? The first one is holding a cylinder. The second one holds a prism. The third one holds a cone. So here's my little swapping game that I play. The inside calls were circle, square, triangle. So I start with the left statue and see it has a cylinder, or rather a circle and a square. It needs to get rid of the circle. It's already got a square, so it just needs a triangle. So let's ditch that circle and pick up a triangle. So the first thing I do is I start killing knights. The other 2 teammates here, they're just on ad clearing duty this whole time. They're just keeping me safe while I work. This includes killing unstoppable ogres, so make sure that you've got something to stun them with. I find a circle, and I take it to the first statue. This is me saying, hey, I want to subtract your circle from you, Mr. Statue. I then go find a triangle, and I take it to the far right statue because I know it needs to get rid of its triangle. So I put the triangle in it to say, hey, I want to take away your triangle, statue. The 2 statues then trade their circle for the other's triangle, and then the shapes they're holding change. My first statue is now perfect. It's set. It's done. I can leave it alone. It has a triangle and a square, so it's good to go. I move on to the second statue. I see that this statue is still got its prism, the triangle and the square together. But it needs to lose its square, and it needs to gain a circle. So I grab a square and shove it into the statue to say, hey, I want to subtract your square. I then grab a circle. I take it to the far right statue because it needs to lose a circle and replace one of its circles with a square. Perfect! They swap places, and I'm left with exactly what I needed. The left statue now has a square and a triangle, since the inside call was circle. The middle statue now has a cone, or rather a triangle and a circle, since the inside call was a square. And the final statue now has a circle and a square together to become a cylinder, since the inside statue had a triangle. Our work is basically done on the outside, and you can see I got used to doing this quickly. There was a lot of time left on the clock, plenty of time for the inside team to do what they needed to do. So we just kind of got to kick back and relax for a bit. Now, let's move on to the inside team. There are a couple of different ways to do this part, but the easiest way that requires the fewest call-outs is what I'm going to teach you. It's essentially the same thing we've been doing. Everybody needs to get the 2 shapes they don't have, but we're going to start by doing the opposite. So when the inside players are sent into their rooms, like I said, the first thing they do is they call out the shapes that the statues are holding from left to right so the outside team can begin their work. But then after that, the first thing you want to do as an inside player is to collect 2 shapes in your room that match the shape your character's statue is holding. I know that's the opposite of ultimately what we want to do, but it's going to make it a lot easier to distribute things. So my statue here is holding a triangle, so I want 2 triangles in my room. The wall in the back of the room will show you what shapes you have in your room right now. So my wall shows circle and a triangle. So I need 2 triangles. So I kill a knight. It drops a triangle, but that's not what I'm looking for right now. I kill a second knight, and he drops a circle. Perfect. So I take the circle. I need to get this thing out of my room. So I take the circle, I go to the statues, and I find the statue that's holding a circle. Boom! I send the circle to him. Meanwhile, my teammate sees that he has a triangle in his room, but he doesn't want those right now. So he sends it off to me because my statue is holding a triangle. Perfect! I now have 2 triangles in my room. Once all 3 players have 2 of the same shape that their statue is holding, we are now ready to start gifting them out. I kill one knight, I pick up the triangle, and I gift it to one of my teammates. I kill the other knight, I grab his triangle, and I gift it to the other one of my teammates. If all 3 players do this, then that leaves everyone with no shapes that their own statue is holding. We just gave those away. I gave both my triangles away. But I got a circle from one of my teammates, and I got a square from one of my other teammates. So I kill a knight, and I grab the square, and then kill another knight, and grab his circle. Boom! I've now combined the two in my pocket, and they become a cylinder, as the feed on my screen indicates. If the outside team has done their job, then my statue on the outside is now holding a cylinder. And I crafted a cylinder in my own room. It's in my pocket. Now that those two things align, I can now walk through the glass wall that separates me from the real room, and I walk right back into the real room. A couple of things to note here on the inside. Ogres will spawn whenever a shape is gifted to you. So if somebody says, I'm sending a triangle over, the first thing that you're going to see is a new ogre pop up in your room. You got to kill the ogre, and then that queues up the knight to spawn. So always kill your ogre so you can get your knight, so you can kill your knight to get your shape. Got it? Another thing to note, there are times where you will have gifted everything out of your room away, and you're going to have nothing on your wall because nobody has gotten around to gifting things to you yet. Don't panic. Just tell people, hey, I gifted away my triangles. I need a circle. Jingleheimer, I see that you're the circle statue. Hey, could you give me a circle, please? And then I see Nomad. Hey, you're the square guy, right? Hey, could you shoot a square over my way? Now, this is very, very important. Do not build your final shape that you need to walk out of the room until you have gifted everything you need to gift to the other players. Okay? Very important, because if you combine the two shapes in your pocket and then someone says, hey, you forgot to send me your triangle, you're like, oh, frick. What am I supposed to do? You got to now gift two shapes to one of the statues to get rid of that so that you can pick up the triangle and send that one to them too. Now they're overloaded. They've got a bunch of shapes too. And you're like, I need you to send those other two back. It makes things really messy. So absolutely never craft your shape in your pocket with the two shapes you're trying to combine. Don't do that until you have gifted away everything you need to gift away so that both of your teammates have everything from you that they need. Then you can craft your final shape, put it in your pocket, and walk through the wall. Sound good? Another thing that happens as a mechanic during this whole encounter is that while the outside team is trying to make sure that your statues have the right shapes, and while the inside team is trying to make sure that they're gathering the proper shapes in their pockets too, the witness is going to see what's going on, and he's going to, well, he's going to kill some of you. Everybody who's on the inside team, he's just going to kill you every now and then. This is intended. So what ends up happening is that in the outside room, the outside team, when the witness wipes everybody on the inside, your ghosts reappear. And so the outside team will then have to collect your ghosts, and they will have to walk back to the initial part of the room where you started the encounter, where all 6 statues for your whole fire team are lined up. And if you are dead, your job is to communicate to them, say, hey, this statue's over here, this statue's over there. So everyone who's dead will be able to see one of the statues of the dead people, but you won't be able to see yourself. So if I'm dead, I could see Jingleheimer's and be like, hey, Jingleheimer is on pedestal number 5. So they will grab Jingleheimer's ghost. We all made sure that we had ghosts that were really simple. So for example, Jingleheimer had a cowboy hat on, and he used the cowboy hat ghost. Made it really easy. So I see a cowboy, I say, hey, there's a cowboy on pedestal 5. So they would grab the cowboy ghost, and your teammate will then walk over and place it on the pedestal that I just said to match the ghost with the proper guardian. Once they've done that, you get revived as if nothing ever happened, like you were just basically put on hold and then unpaused. And now you're just back in your room where you were doing your business before the witness killed you, and you just got to keep going as if nothing had ever changed. So once everybody is revived and their ghosts have been placed on their proper pedestals, so it's very important that everyone who's dead start calling out, here's what I see, because that's going to help your people who are alive who are trying to revive you. If they put the ghosts in the wrong pedestal, they will die. And that kind of ruins things, so don't let that happen. So once they revive you, you just go right about your work, collecting the symbols you need to collect, gifting the ones you need to gift, and then making your way back outside. So once you have done that successfully, now the entire team is regrouped back in the main room again. Once that happens, your timer that's been counting down to kill you is going to stop. There are going to be 2 overload champions, sorry, not overload. There's going to be 2 unstoppable champions, these ogres that spawn on the sides of the room, and then a ton of other ads. Kill the champions, kill the ads. The witness gets PO'd. He's upset about it. So he's like, you know what, I'm just going to kill all of you. Well, mostly all of you. He'll kill 5 of you. Same thing again. Your one teammate who's left alive is going to start grabbing ghosts and putting them on the pedestals. So comms can get really messy here. Just take your time. You got plenty of time here. You got like a full minute to get these ghosts on the right statues. So just say, hey, I see the cowboy hat's a really easy one. So cowboy hat is on pedestal 3 right now. So the one teammate who's alive is going to grab the cowboy hat ghost, put it on that pedestal. Now you have 2 teammates alive. So now that's 2 people who can grab these ghosts. So then start communicating even more. Okay, True Vanguard is on pedestal 1. He's got the harpy ghost. So they're going to grab my harpy ghost and take it to pedestal 1. I get revived. It's easy peasy. So it's just all about communication. Really, it is not a complicated... I feel like people overcomplicate this encounter. It really is as simple as call out the inside statue shapes. Triangle, circle, square, for example. That means triangle statue needs, instead of a triangle, the other 2 things, square and circle, both on the inside and on the outside. It's so simple. If everybody gets their heads wrapped around that and gets it done, you just do this 3 times and you're finished. It's that simple. Once you've done 3 full rotations, the chest appears, the encounter is finished. There's no boss, so get tons of ad clear stuff on. I used the like Helion turret and the getaway artist. So I just had 2 turrets killing everything while I was just running around doing what I needed to do, and they were mostly doing all the work for me. Made it really simple. Now, since you could be staying out or you could be going in, it's important that everybody understand the mechanics so that you never have an instance where the person who's used to doing all of the outside work, where they're like, oh, I will make the 3D shapes on the statues. No problem, I get it. What happens if that one person gets sent on the inside? Now you're screwed. So make sure you've got at least 3 or 4 people who know how to do that so that regardless of who gets pulled in and who gets to stay out, everybody knows how to get the job done. I also, little tip, I found it to be so much easier if you only have one person on the outside team managing the statues and swapping the symbols out. Because when we tried to have a couple of people do it, they just weren't on the same page a lot of times. They're like, oh, I need to get a circle on this one. So they both go grab a circle. They both go to the statue without, and they don't realize who's done what, and it messes the whole thing up. Just have 2 people do ad clear. You got plenty of time. If you do it correctly, slowly, methodically, you'll get it done with plenty of time on the clock. I promise you, it worked for me every time. If it was just me doing it, and I said, hey guys, keep me safe while I do this, and you trust your teammates to watch your back, kill the ogres, all that stuff, no problem. So that is the encounter. That's Verity. I actually really enjoyed it once I understood it. I was like, you know what, this is kind of fun. It's just basically doing a little swapperoo game. If you found this helpful, if you found this much simpler than some of the more convoluted things, hey, let me know. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching the video today. Big shout out to all of you who supported the content this week. The guide on the first encounter that I posted got over 100,000 views in like 48 hours, which is incredible. So I'm very humbled by that and appreciate that very, very much. Good luck. Get some loot. Have some fun. Grab a team. Hang out with some buds. And I do hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.